It's Friday, September 14th, 2012, and you're watching The OS. Welcome to The OS, the show that aims to provide a diverse range of news and opinions on today's consumer technology. This week was obviously a big week for Apple as they unveiled their brand new iPhone 5. Naturally, almost everybody has heard about this device already, but many of you probably don't know the specifics and details about this device. So that's what we're going to focus on today. The new iPhone comes completely redesigned with every single aspect of it being upgraded in some way. For some, including myself with an iPhone 4, it's definitely enough to capture our attention. For some others, not so much. Today on the OS, we aim to give you a well-rounded picture of the new iPhone, and we're going to start with Andy Kaufman from the Wolfpack.
Hey, welcome to the OS! Yeah, it's finally here! The new iPhone! The 6th iPhone, and they're calling it the iPhone 5. Yeah, I'm never gonna live that one down. But hey, it's everything like we've seen. All the leaks, everything, all the pictures. We got the aluminum back. We got it 7.6 millimeters thin. It's got the new dock connector. It's got the 4-inch screen. It's got the LTE. Yes, it looks really nice, but hey, it wasn't anything surprising because of all the leaks that were happening. Boy, Apple really needs to tighten some of this down because it's getting prolific. I mean, come on. So, am I gonna upgrade? Is it worthy of an upgrade? I don't know. Boy, just to me, there was nothing that I saw on the presentation like the new iPhone 5 does that the iPhone 4S doesn't already do. Yeah, it's gonna be faster. The A6 processor is supposed to be 2 times faster. The graphics are supposed to be 2 times faster. But there was nothing like phenomenal that blew me away in the presentation. But hey, if you love Apple, it is what it is. It's gonna be dependable. Hey, it's gonna do exactly what you want it to do. And if you love it, then go out and buy the new iPhone 5. Thanks for watching the OS, and leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Take care. Goodbye.
Honestly, if you have an iPhone 4S, this device probably isn't enough to get you to shell out some more money to switch. And it's understandable. It isn't all that much different than the previous iPhone. If you're an avid Android fan or someone who owns something like a Galaxy S3, understandably, you're not going to be interested in this device. For many people, the iPhone 4S, when it was announced, appeared to be the exact same phone as an iPhone 4 with just an S attached to the end of it. This is because while every single part of the phone was modified and upgraded in a big way, the exterior appearance remained almost exactly the same. People look at the book, they see the cover, they think it's the same story. One of the biggest requests people wanted with the 4S was a larger screen. When they didn't get it, they were disappointed. This time, the entire device has been upgraded again, but this time with a 4-inch screen. The only problem is, Apple might be a little bit too late with this update because there are a lot of big players in the market right now. A lot of people feel Apple should have stepped it up in comparison, and quite honestly, I agree with them. But how does the iPhone really compare to the 2 big players in the other OSs? To give us an in-depth look at how these specs match up, here's Damian Estrada from Noble Press.
Hey guys, this is Damian Estrada from Noble Press, and we're back with another edition of the OS. Earlier we heard Andy talk about the new features of the iPhone 5. Now I'm going to go over the iPhone 5 versus the competition. First off, let's look at the screen size. The iPhone 5 comes in at a 4-inch screen, whereas the Galaxy S3 is a 4.8, and the Nokia Lumia 920 is a 4.5-inch screen. Screen resolutions on the iPhone 5 we have 1136 by 640. On the Galaxy S3 we have 1280 by 720. And on the Lumia 920 we have 1280 by 768. Oddly, the Lumia has the highest PPI at 331 PPI. The S3 comes in at 306 PPI, and Apple's Retina display comes in at 326 PPI. The iPhone is the lightest of the lot at 3.95 ounces. Whereas the S3 comes in at 4.7 ounces, and the Lumia 900 is looking a bit on the heavy side at 6.53 ounces. As far as internal storage goes, the iPhone 5 has a 16 gig, a 32 gig, and a 64 gig option, whereas the S3 has the same option, 16, 32, and 64, and the Lumia only has a 32 gigabyte option, which is probably the best since it's right in the middle and you're probably going to be paying $200 for it. As far as adding storage onto that, the S3 is the only one with the option for a micro SD XC card. Now cameras, the thing that really matters to me. On the iPhone 5, we have the same 8 megapixel camera with still a 2.4 f-stop. I'm not really sure what they were thinking there. They just thought that they could throw in the same camera. It does have a slightly better sensor, but I don't know if it's really going to compare with the amazing images that you see in the S3 and the supposed amazing images that you see off the 8.7 camera monster in the 920. But as Apple has proven before, their low spec devices can usually outperform higher spec devices. We'll have to wait till we get our hands on with the iPhone 5 to really dive into that. On the front-facing camera, you can finally shoot 720p video. I guess that's cool if you're into shooting 720 with your front-facing camera, or if you just want to FaceTime HD over the network. The Samsung S3 has a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, and the Nokia has a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. All three rear cameras support 1080p video recording because, you know, I think even free cell phones support 1080p video recording now. The iPhone 5 does not come with NFC, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S3 does, and so does the 920. Though let's be honest, I have a 1X, I have NFC, I've never turned it on. I did turn it on once because I was like, oh, what could I do with this? And then I realized, oh, I can't really do anything with this at all. So if you're a person that does use NFC, then please leave a comment on how and when and where you use NFC. But as of now, I have found no use for it whatsoever. And I really, really, really wish I could because I think it's a really cool concept. But I understand why Apple left it out because I don't think anyone really uses it. All three devices support LTE, as they should. As far as other wireless connectivity goes, the iPhone 5 has Bluetooth 4.0 as well as S3. Oddly, the 920 only has 3.1 Bluetooth. Now the hard hitters. What's the CPU like? Well, not really anything we could tell at the moment. Apparently it's 2 times faster than the iPhone 4S, so it's pretty fast, and you know, I don't think anyone's gonna have a problem with it. But not the gigantic upgrade that I think everyone was expecting. The Galaxy S3 has a 1.4 quad-core processor, or dual-core if you're in the US, as the Lumia 920 has a 1.5 dual-core processor. So basically where your decision lies on what's a better phone is honestly based on the OS that you prefer. If you like clean and simple, then you're going to go with iOS 6. If you like confusing but an ultimately richer experience, you're going to go with Android. And if you just really like Steve Ballmer or Bill Gates, you're going to go with Windows Phone 8. The decision is in your hands. Check back in 2 weeks when we have a hands-on with the iPhone 5.
While the new iPhone specs may seem a little bit inferior to the Galaxy S3 and the Lumia 920 in a lot of areas, it's important to remember that a consumer's decision is not based solely on specs. The numbers that you see on the box and the physical attributes of the device itself is not the entire picture. It's nice to be able to say your device is faster and thinner, but it's the overall experience it has for the individual user that makes up the entire picture. If all you're looking at is specs, you're missing a huge portion of what makes up your experience, and you might actually make the wrong decision when it comes time to purchase your next phone. In fact, in many cases, it's how that device interacts with the world around you, and it's stuff like that that isn't specifically listed on the box. Offering a feature like NFC, for example, really doesn't do anything for the vast majority of users. Only a small minority even know what NFC means, and a small percentage of those people actually use it. If the feature isn't practical and it isn't useful for the individual user, then why does that person want it? Now, the iPhone is making a lot of press largely because of who released it. As the most valuable company in the world, Apple is going to have a large amount of press following them, and it's been a big contributor to their success. Of course, the press really only follows what they feel will give them traffic, and since that's popular, that's what they report. Companies can say whatever they want on stage, but it's usually up to us to check their facts. There are always a lot of people paying attention to the tech industry, and one of them on our show today has done a little bit of fact-checking of his own. Rowe from Technicove is here to briefly talk about some Android announcements, but before he gets into that, he's got a little bit of Apple fact-checking to do.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron from Technicove, and welcome to the 7th week of the OS. It's the 7th week, and it has been a crazy week. Back on Wednesday, Apple unveiled their new generation iPhone called the iPhone 5, and a lot of people really weren't that impressed with it. Now, other people in the show have covered the iPhone, but I bring it up only because this iPhone is 4G LTE, and as you may have guessed, Samsung and HTC hold a lot of 4G LTE patents, so expect Samsung and HTC to both hit Apple with a lawsuit soon. Also, in other news, Phil Schiller from Apple said that the iPhone 5 was the thinnest smartphone on the planet, which couldn't be any further from the truth. It might be the thinnest iPhone ever produced, correct, but it is not the thinnest smartphone on the planet. The original Motorola Droid Razr had that title, and there are other phones that have been released from other manufacturers overseas that are actually thinner than that. So Apple, you do not hold the title of the thinnest smartphone. That is not the iPhone 5. Last bit of Android news is that the Galaxy Note 2 looks to be making its way to all 4 major carriers. Brief Mobile leaked this past week screenshots from the Galaxy Note 2 for the Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile variant. So it looks like Samsung is looking to spread out the Note, much like it did the Galaxy S3. And I look forward to being able to put my hands on that 5.5-inch screen with Jelly Bean and the redesigned S Pen and all that goodness there. But this was Aaron from Technocove, and I will see you in the next video.
The real question, no matter what device you decide to look for, is always going to be this: does it serve your purposes well? That's the only question you need to ask. Does it fit your needs? Does it do what you want it to do in the way you want it to do it? If you can answer yes to that question when you're shopping for a device, then perhaps that device deserves a chance. So what do you think of the new lineup of phones, and what's your impressions on this new iPhone 5? Leave us your thoughts in the comments field below. If you like the show and want to help us grow, go ahead and hit the subscribe button up top, or give that like button some love down below. And that wraps up this week's OS. Join us every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for some more news and opinions on today's tech world. Have a nice weekend, everyone.